So, you are considering potentially moving abroad to a new country, to a new city. It's exciting, and I'm happy you are because it could be one of the best decisions you'll make, and it could change your life for the better. But only if you pick the right place and do things correctly. On the other hand, if you pick the wrong place, it could be a terrible decision that sets you back in terms of time, finances, and a lot of other things. Luckily, that's easily avoided by preparing well, by doing your due diligence and research. And that's why I want to share 8 pretty underrated and not enough spoken about attributes or things you should absolutely consider and know about before you sign the deal and say, this is where I want to go. And so let's jump in. The first one is massive, at least for me. It's property ownership. So me, I want to buy and I want to own property in the country I'm moving to. Okay? I want to buy and own because I want to profit of the increase in value. I want to do what I want with it. I want to be able to sell if I want to go somewhere else. And so, again, I want to buy and own. If you're the same, you want to make sure the country you're moving to or planning to move to allows you as a foreigner to buy property and doesn't make it incredibly difficult, because there are places where you cannot buy property as a foreigner, and a lot of those places as well make it close to impossible for you to become a citizen. Places like Thailand, Indonesia, which are super popular for their own merits, but this is seriously one of the drawbacks, right? And sure, there's going to be plenty of very intelligent people who tell you you can do a 90-day lease. You cannot do a 90-day lease, and even if you could, it's nothing compared to owning. You can't do a 90-year lease legally. You can do a 30-year lease and renew it. That is, if the owner is willing and happy to do that. But again, you don't own it. You're pretty much prepaying 3 decades of rent, which makes no sense to me whatsoever, right? And sure, you can renew, but again, it's just incomparable to being the owner. It's your house. You can sell it, you can rent it, you can make an Airbnb out of it, you can do whatever you want, right? And there's no ticking time bomb again, and the owner could pass away. There's just a lot of stuff that can happen. And sure, then they'll tell you, well, you can do it through a business. Sure, I don't want to do it through business, I want to buy a house as a person. You can always play around things. You can always trick the system. There's always some workaround. But ideally, you don't want to have to look for one. You just want to come, take your money, buy the property without much hassle, and own it. And so that's number 1, property ownership. Number 2 then is language, which is more important than you think. And we're not just talking about, is English widely spoken in that country or city, but mainly about you learning their language, right? If you want to move there, well, you want to integrate, you want to become good friends with the locals, and you need to know the language. And so how difficult is it? Is the alphabet the same? If not, it's going to make it much more difficult. What branch or family does the language fall into? If you know English, learning German might be a bit easier than for somebody who does not. For example, my partner, she already spoke a Slavic language, and so learning Croatian for her was not that big of a deal, really. It was not super difficult. And so, understand the language, what alphabet they use, and how difficult it will be for you to learn it. Number 3, air and water quality. You're going to live there for years, maybe decades. You want to make sure that your health is not going to be at risk in any way. You want to make sure the air quality is up to a specific health standard. You want to make sure the water is clean and pure and there's no E. coli swimming in it, right? Especially considering your specific health. If you have a weak immunity, if you have respiratory issues, this is an important aspect to consider. And here again, I don't want to dunk on Southeast Asia. It has its merits, but just like any other place, it has its drawbacks, and this is one of them. I saw this video from a guy who was speaking about the crop burning season in Chiang Mai, turning the sky into Sauron's asshole. So, air quality, there's E. coli in the water. You need to consider that. Next, another one is culture and religion. Again, you want to fit in, you want to become part of the local community. How close is the culture to what you're used to? How much do you actually like the culture? How much would you want to be part of it? And then what is the religion, right? Because I'm Christian, I want to be in a Christian country, part of a Christian community. I want to go to church with people, and that matters a lot because in many countries it's a big part of the culture actually, right? And so whether you're Christian like me, or you're Muslim, or you're Hindu, or whatever your religion is, you want to ideally know that either you want to convert to the religion of the country you're moving to, but that's maybe not going to be the case. So ideally you want to know that the majority religion is your religion, or you want to know that at least the city you're moving to has a strong community of people who follow the same religion. So next is timing and the trajectory of that country. Listen, this one is huge. Things could be looking happy jolly at one time. Maybe now when you're looking at a place, it's like, oh, this is amazing. Wow. But what's it going to look like in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? It's important to know. You're going to be making, I would say, pretty strong commitments by working towards your permanent residency or citizenship, or investing money into the country, or buying property. You want to know that you're going to be safe there and that it's going to keep heading in the direction you want it to. For example, Montenegro. I'm all about the Balkans. Let me give you one of those. Montenegro is a place I absolutely adore, and I'm planning to buy property in. I want to buy, and then apart from that, I want to buy a ruin and reconstruct it, etc. I find that super cool. I'm super comfortable with doing that. Why? Well, the EU ascension, is on its way, and so I know what that's going to do with the prices, as does everybody else. And so I'm more than happy to do that. I'm super comfortable doing that because I know that, in all seriousness, on a 3, 5, 7 year horizon, the chance of me getting into some trouble there, or chance of that country becoming problematic, or coming into some downturn, the way things are going now and the trajectory it's in, is very slim to none. And I know that throughout the ascension, the prices are going to rise. I know when it hits, prices are going to bounce strongly. And so that's another thing. I'm quite urgent, I'm getting in as soon as I can. And so yeah, timing, right? You want to make sure that things are looking good now, but also they're going to keep looking good over the next whatever time horizon. Next is, especially if you work remotely, which is very likely if you're planning to move abroad. You either run a business, so you have clients, or you freelance, you have clients, you have remote work, so you have, again, colleagues, the company, and all of these people will be in different places around the world. They could be in the US, they could be in Australia, in the UK, in Europe, in parts of Asia, and you're working remotely, you need to consider the time zones, right? For example, again, for me, it's not been a massive issue because of this. I'm 6 hours from the East Coast, I'm 1 hour from the UK, and pretty much the same amount of time the opposite way. Obviously, I'm in Europe, but you need to consider, just make sure it's not going to really mess up strongly with your work, because if you can't work, you can't make money. If you can't make money, it's going to be tough to build a good life in a new country, right? But again, this doesn't require too much brainstorming. Just make sure the timing's on point, and you'll manage everything well, and you can adjust, and you're good to go. Lastly, we have healthcare and finances. So healthcare, well, what's the quality? What's the standard of public healthcare, right? What's the standard of public healthcare? How much does it cost? What's the structure? What does private healthcare look like? And then actually, what's the access to it in the specific place you want to move to? Like, listen, I'm the first person to romanticize some small, beautiful island of Croatia or Greece, but I gotta be honest with myself too. Like, if things go south, I get injured, I get sick, what will I do? Not much on a remote island, right? So I need some practicality. I need to make sure I have access to healthcare. I can go to my dentist, I can get my prescriptions if I need, etc. So you make sure you can do the same. You make sure the healthcare is up to a certain standard, or there is good private healthcare options, and you'll be golden. Then, finances. Well, currency. What's the currency of the country, right? Again, just like assets, properties, and countries trend up and down, so do currencies. And you want to make sure that the currency of the country you're moving to, you want to make sure you know what it is and what's its future look like, and how strong is it compared to its other counterparts, right? And also, what does it look like in comparison to what you're earning in, right? You could be earning US dollars, you could be earning euros, you could be earning pounds, like who knows? So you want to make sure that it's strong in comparison. You want to make sure that the currency is going to be stable, because again, like, you're going to hold a lot of that currency. The country you live in runs on that currency, and so if something were to happen, things get pretty ugly. We've seen this in many places around the world with hyperinflation, and it's not a pretty picture. So just making sure the likelihood of that is as low as possible will potentially save you a lot of headache and a lot of money. And the last thing you need to consider is yourself. You are the last factor. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your plans, and your outlook on things. Again, I'm the first person to romanticize things and be a victim of wishful thinking and all that stuff. That can be a costly mistake when you're planning to move abroad. So just make sure you're grounded and you're in the right headspace to make these decisions. Make sure you are thinking clearly. Make sure you're being very critical, and make sure you are truly thinking long term and not getting pulled into the vacation mode of thinking. But either way, you got this. I'm glad you're thinking about it already. That's the first step. Now all that you need is planning and execution. And I wish you the best. If you want to make things maybe a bit easier and find a group of people who are considering the same, doing it already, you want to find out more about stuff like this, or even the more obvious things like visas, residency, citizenships, and you want to learn about the Balkans, which, in my humble opinion, it's one of the best places in the world, but again, I'm biased, I'll put the school down in the description. You can jump in, it's free, and I've got a lot of goodies in there that I think you'll find useful, and I have big plans with it, and that's going to benefit you too if you're in there. But anyways, all the best, keep going at it, and make it happen.